So just to quickly talk about synchronization for beef cows. So again, most beef cows are raised on pasture-based systems, and certainly it has to be low cost. Again, the objective is to maximize the proportion of cows that are calving early. We want to have a compact calving pattern. No different from seasonal calving in dairy, you want a compact calving with beef cows as well. For labor reasons, for duration of suckling reasons, there's no advantage in having a spread out calving pattern. One thing that is different between beef and dairy is the availability of cows for interventions. So there's a requirement to have fewer interventions with beef cows because they're not coming in every day. Dairy cows are available twice a day, every day at milking time, maybe 3 times a day at milking time. But beef cows, they're being specifically brought in for the purpose of synchronization and insemination. Again, another potential rationale for using synchronization in beef cows would be to reduce the number of natural service bulls required. So you know, if you currently need 2 or 3 bulls, if you use some synchronization and AI, can you reduce the number of bulls by 1? So this is a protocol that has been used in beef cows. Similar to what I've shown already, injection of GnRH and insertion of a progesterone device, prostaglandin 7 days later with progesterone device removal, and then 60 to 66 hours later, timed AI and GnRH at the same time. So administering GnRH and AI at the same time is generally referred to as co-sync, and in this case it's co-sync plus progesterone. This has been modified a little bit in recent times to shorten even further the duration that the progesterone device is inserted. So now it's a 5-day co-sync plus progesterone. So GnRH again up front, progesterone device inserted for 5 days. Now I mentioned at the beginning that a corpus luteum is only responsive to prostaglandin between days 5 and day 17 of the estrous cycle. If you give GnRH here, you get ovulation the following day, and one single injection of prostaglandin is not enough to cause luteolysis here. So these cows actually need 2 injections of prostaglandin 8 hours apart. So 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. And then 72 hours after progesterone device insertion, timed AI and GnRH. So there's, what's the benefit of going to this extra effort in terms of fertility? So there's very large numbers of animals summarized in this conception rate, almost 18,000 and about 8,000 for the 5-day. There is about a 3% unit lift in conception rate. So there is a slight benefit to going with a 5-day co-sync protocol versus a 7-day co-sync protocol. What impact can synchronization have on the calving pattern in a beef cow herd? So again, this is a study with a control group that had only natural mating. There was no AI used, there was no hormones used. Versus a group that were enrolled onto a timed AI protocol, GnRH at the beginning, progesterone device for 7 days, prostaglandin, timed AI and GnRH 60 hours later, and then after that was followed by natural mating. This is the days of the calving season the following year. So this is obviously not all, even if a lot of cows get pregnant on the same day, they're not all going to calve on the same day. It's going to be plus or minus 7 to 10 days. This is the percentage of cows that are calved on the timed AI treatment. This is the percentage of cows calved on the control treatment. And you can see that by using that synchronization at the beginning, you get more cows calving at the very beginning of the calving season. This is the impact of fixed time AI on calving distribution, and the black bars here are the timed AI group, and the white bars are the control group. And what you see is you're getting more cows calved at the very start of the calving season. So in the first 20 days of the calving period, 44% have calved versus 25%. So the impact of using synchronization in terms of making an economic decision is based on the value of a calf that's born at the beginning of the calving season versus the value of a calf that's born later in the calving season. So if they're born at the beginning, as you can see here, they're worth quite a bit more than the ones that are born late. So this is just a reflection of age. They've suckled for longer, they're larger, they're heavier at weaning, they're worth more. And that's what's shown here. So in terms of weaning weight, they're about 17 kilograms heavier at weaning. So finally then, to finish off on the cost benefit of timed AI in beef cows, this again is largely the same as it is in dairy cows. So again, you're trying to increase submission rate, you're increasing AI usage. So AI bulls are typically better merit than natural service bulls. You can shorten the interval from calving to pregnancy. Depending on the herd size, you can reduce the number of bulls required. By calving early, you're going to have a longer suckling period, heavier weanlings. And the economics, again, depends on existing heat detection efficiency and whether or not AI is even used. And in a lot of beef herds in Ireland, at least, AI isn't even used. Disadvantages, certainly for a beef farmer, the big disadvantage they're going to see straight away is the animal handling requirements, having to bring them in, having to give them injections. It's just not, if it's not normally part of the routine, then it's going to be perceived as a major disadvantage. Again, the initial cost, compliance with the protocol, if they're not used to this sort of administering of hormones and when to AI cows, there could be compliance issues. And again, there's in some countries, there's issues with consumer sentiment. So with that, I'm going to finish. I just want to acknowledge a student, Dr. Mary Hurley, who did a lot of the synchronization work in Ireland and also in Wisconsin, and collaborators and funding. And with that, I'll hand it back to Alessio. Thank you.